Hi, I'm Michaela. I am, or also known as Basic Res. I am the voice of Nita in this episode, episode 14, Sunnytown. I also direct, and I also helped a lot with the audio as well. And I'm followed by...
I'm Jitterbug Jive, or earlier known as Bald Dumbo Rat. I'm the creator of Dr. Hooves and Assistant, and I play Derpy Hooves. I am also the writer of this episode. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Xander, also known as King Xanadu on both Twitter and YouTube, and I voice currently Greyhoof for this episode, and I exist, I guess? Seriously, I'm a fledgling voice actor, and this was an honor to be a part of.
And I'm Sonovate. I'm one of the audio engineers for Ponies with Pockets Productions, and I handled the effects selection and placement, as well as the ambient sound design and the vocal post-processing.
All right, that's everyone with us today. With that said, any notes that we want to talk about before we start the episode, or should we just get right back into it?
We should get into it.
I'm down with it.
Let's do it.
Right.
Bring it on.
Come on, Doctor, give us the warning.
Our first
Hello,
warning.
dear audience. Yes,
Yeah.
This production was brought to you by Raid Shadow
Before
Legends.
this adventure starts, I need to give
Not
you
sponsored.
a word of warning. This episode will contain
A lot of people were very
strong horror elements.
scared when
So,
they
if
first
you
saw
don't think you can
this
handle that,
warning.
if you
Yeah.
skip it,
Don't blame
you'll
them.
miss anything important
Yeah,
to the main plot.
Especially it being like the first
Now,
one that had
if you
this kind of
still
warning
want
attached to it.
continue,
And we've had
Then
beheading twice,
have
so
on
you know. Without
I could be an
warning.
outlier, but I'm kind of expected this stuff because this is Jitterbug we're talking about here.
I definitely feel like the episode could have been like a lot, not a lot scarier, but I feel like it's not the scariest episode, but definitely did need the thing, just because some people might not like the sounds of, spoilers, Xander dying.
It's fine. Your
Xanadu dying here.
So what do you got there?
And I only had 2 weeks left to retirement.
Well,
Yeah, I personally felt it was pretty tame, but definitely those, you definitely made some very visceral sounds during that transformation that, that in of itself probably deserved its own content warning.
Oh, and I'll get into the process behind that once that shows up, because there's a bit of a story behind that, too.
Oh, definitely. First of all, this is TikTok and Derpy hanging around the box.
But it's incredibly resilient.
Can I try?
Any kind of notes we want to make on the box? It's a box. It's not
the
wood.
box.
Tinker.
Does it have a cat in it?
Pardon?
Well, you
I'm
always seem to be
glad
having
that the
trouble
box
Und
with it.
Uncium
I
atom?
think it would make me feel super smart if I could do it too. Even just a little.
Derpy,
It-
you're already exceptionally intelligent.
Anyway, I meant to bring it in earlier, but
But that just means
it just
maybe my tinkering could be
it
useful,
wasn't
right?
fully formed as an idea
Alright, here.
until
These are the
later.
current tools I've been trying to use with this one here is what I
But
was
yeah, I'm
going to
really
try
glad
next.
that we're getting into the box now, because it
It's
is
for more
definitely
precision.
really important and should
might be able to
probably
get under
get
the
people
cracks,
theorizing
although-
more, I'm
I
hoping.
found something.
So it was literally a Schrodinger's box.
Look, it's really hard to see,
Yeah.
but if I poke around here, a tiny bit of it seems to give. If I just pried a little more.
And of course, this scene is part of one of the many
Well, to be fair,
shipping
it took a lot
moments
strength to
of
pry
the
cover
episode.
off the keyhole.
Because there always has to be shipping in any fandom.
Made me too weak to do it.
Of course.
And I've done, this series has
This
done a
goes for my
healthy
lockpicking
bit
kit.
of Derpy Doctor and Derpy
Am I
TikTok,
gonna learn to pick
and even
locks?
Doctor TikTok.
Potentially.
So, I mean, it's
I
not
think
like
you-
we're
Here we go.
leaning particularly
Alright,
towards
so
any one
this
in
is your tension
particular.
wrench, and these are your pick ricks.
Yeah, no, and I think you did a really good job on creating a story that, like, oh, look at this, it can go either way or either way, or this person can go with this person, and yada yada yada. And it's not like, okay,
Use a picture
from
called
day
the
one,
public
you know
keypad,
Derpy's
and
gonna end up with the
this is a
doctor.
little
And you're like,
difficult
oh,
to explain.
okay.
Here, I'll guide your hopes.
Where's the,
Yeah,
where's the
to-
journey with that?
That's really...
Yeah, because to me, the crux of a good story is one where it
Now you scrub
includes
with the picker,
romantic elements,
like
but
so.
it's not the crux of it.
I feel like a spy.
And people
Mhm.
don't
Sure, you'd
really
make an
know
excellent
what
spy.
the
You're
doctor's
very
romantic
unassuming.
status
You've been
was
on my
before
gadget.
he came to
Of course.
Equestria either, so...
Is something supposed to happen?
He wasn't Jack Harkness, that's for
I
sure.
figured as much.
Yeah,
This
well,
lock is
no.
far more advanced than anything I've encountered. The TARDIS is the only other lock I couldn't get past.
Well, hold on.
This is the one episode I don't think the one scene I don't think I really had
What
too
was that?
much
Did a
touching in.
thing. It sounds
I
like a
know
music box. But why would somebody
I think I
all
did the
this
scratch
effort to
work
lock
for
up a
it,
music
but
box of all things?
Gesture I
Oh,
think
this
did
box grows
most
more
of the
perplexing as time progresses.
most of like
Thank
the
you,
little
Derpy,
like
for getting it this far,
things
at
in it.
least.
As for of course Son of It, and then Starbite doing other
It's
bits.
not nothing. This box is important to me. I don't know why I had it, but it's one of the only things that I have that has any sort of connection to the past I'd forgotten. So I truly mean it with the utmost sincerity. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Yeah, here it comes.
You know, I just want you
Oh,
to
boy.
know that no matter who you were or where you came from, the pony you
I
are
hate how
now
cheesy it
is
is,
something you
but
should
like
be proud
it's
of.
Doctor Who and My Little
I hope
Pony,
you
so it's
never
kind of
forget that.
necessary
I'm proud,
to
huh?
be cheesy.
Pride wasn't exactly the strongest suit I had back in Ayers. But since I
Cheese
started
is the
working
game
on the Doctor,
name, bro.
I've been learning to like myself.
I mean, you haven't been
Good,
opposed
I'm
to
glad.
cheese yourself. Like, you
You're
did a
a wonderful
crossover
thing
of,
to
like,
take up.
MLP and
You
Princess
deserve to be
Tutu, if I
happy.
recall.
I suppose so.
Kinda, I did a reference
Did
to
you?
it, yeah.
There's something I want to tell you.
I drew Derpy
What?
in the
What is
Princess Tutu
Well,
style.
you see, the thing is,
It was
well,
adorable.
You and we, as two companions, we've been through a lot, and well...
And of
What's
course,
going on?
Oh, just say
Let's
it,
go
you
to the
jerk.
console room, quickly.
Saved by the bell.
Doctor, what's happening? Why is the TARDIS freaking out?
Sha-la-la.
I think I even think it wasn't added in, but I think Brill had a line in there being like, "Oh, thank God."
Nice.
I think Brill recorded a line being like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Oh, man.
Oh, I also did the video editing for this episode, so I guess I could talk about how the video worked.
I think you did some pretty good editing with this one.
Mhm.
I like movements, and like I do a lot of I've recently started doing what's it called, comic dubs and stuff, right? Like editing for comic dubs, and I always find it a lot more entertaining when the thing actually moves.
Yeah, episode 11 actually started having moving images rather than just static. But I think I forgot to do it the episodes after that.
But I think at least as far as I've been on, these past 2 episodes I think had like very like movement images. Like in episode 13 there was that full on like storyboard of the dream sequence,
This universe?
and then this one has multiple, including the clock that Emlyn did.
Well, that sounds awful.
It has its perks. Anyway,
This
let's
has
see
to be one of my
where
favorite
are we now?
scenes between
A
the
very
3
dark forest.
right
I'm
now,
pretty sure
definitely.
This is Everfree Forest. It looks too wild to be a pony-maintained forest.
Again?
What do you mean?
Reminds me a lot of the dialogue of the
TARDIS
earlier
came here
episodes,
last
like where they
time
could
this
just sit
happened
down and
too.
talk and just
Something
observe
about
their
this area
surroundings.
is different.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate
that would explain a few
downtime
things.
in
There seems to
series
be
like
some
this,
kind of rift around here.
especially
This
when it's
forest
going to
is
be a
teeming
dark
with vortex
episode,
energy
because
that's
you need to really balance it out.
shockingly similar to my own
Otherwise, it's just going to be
universes.
too heavy.
It's probably why this forest
Yeah.
doesn't work like normal forests in your world.
But one of the good things
This
that I
is what a
notice you're
forest
really
in
good at
your world is
writing
more like.
is
Wild,
not
unnamed
giving the
things.
audience a
Why?
break. or like when like you're good at giving the audience a break when it's needed, but when it's not, you kind of just you're like sucks to be you, I
Do
guess.
we just camp out here?
I'm curious about
Yeah,
this rift.
it's just like I'll give you a break,
Maybe we
but
can find the cause of it while we're
that's not gonna
waiting.
stop me from trapping
Last
you
little
later.
adventure through the Everfree Forest, I was eaten by a manticore, remember?
You two faced off a manticore?
Well,
Hey!
look at it.
Continuity.
And then
We
made it
remember
onto
that
the victory
episode.
bench.
I am very surprised you survived with those Neanderthal methods. Don't worry.
Man,
if
this
another
series has
manticore were
come
to
such a
appear, I know
long
how to
way.
combat them
I
properly.
remember when we were doing our
helped take
utmost
down a number in
to
the
keep
past,
as canonical to
granted it was
My
before
Little
my injury,
Pony
and I
as
probably wouldn't be
possible
able
and
to do so
explain
as well
every
before.
appearance
Well,
of
the three of us
Doctor and
working together
Derpy
should
in
be
the
able to
series,
distract it enough to
but
close in
we
on it,
didn't
avoid the claws,
understand,
the
we didn't
stingers.
realize how much they'd
Manticores
start
don't sting up close
appearing in
because
the
they are not immune to their own
series,
venom, and then
and
in front of us
after
we
a
give it a
while it
swift
was
kick
like,
to the eye as they go
well,
down.
if
And
we
an
try
old
to
general
keep
used
canon
say,
to
the
it, we'd
best way
have
to
to
take them out is
rewrite
right
our
between
own
the
stuff,
eyes.
so let's
Not
just
like
Yeah.
maybe make
killing
occasional
it,
reference and go from there.
No, the
Mhm.
kill
You know,
generally
like
comes
Easter
after it
eggs.
What
gets
were-
brought down, so I
Just
What
suppose
leave
were
they
everything
your-
else
survive.
up to the
The
viewer's
Manticore's probably not as
imagination.
vicious as
They can
ours.
put together
Exactly.
their own little
Yeah.
headcanon
I didn't
stories
want
of
killing
when
just
and where
because it was
people were.
hungry.
Your
What were your
compassion
thoughts
never
when episode
ceases.
100 of My Little Pony
Yeah.
came out, when it was like literally Derpy and the Doctor?
You know,
Loved it.
it's
I
not so
loved it.
bad in here when you're with friends.
I was really
With you two
for it.
here, I don't have much reason
When I
to be
watched it, I
scared.
was like, there has to be some kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
inspiration
I'll
that the
protect you.
creators
And I'll
did
protect
from
both
like
of you.
the fan, like how many fan at the
That's weird.
time,
Did you guys see
how many
that?
like Doctor Who's
Oh,
See what?
fan
I
projects
think I
there
saw
were,
another pony
but it
back in
being
the
Oh, for
specifically
sure.
with
Denver.
Derp, but it
But
being
what's the pony
specifically with
doing down
Derpy, I
here
was like,
when
oh,
we're
that's assistant.
I didn't see it.
I'm fairly
Yep.
sure
we
that's
were
what I saw.
actually the first ones to call the
Fairly
Doctor
sure?
Time
Okay, like
Turner,
95% sure.
and
But I think we should try
a
to
little
find
while
it.
after that,
It's
the
not
My
like we
Little
have
Pony
anything
trading
better to do.
cards
I
came
suppose
out
not.
and officially
Alright, let's
called
go.
him Time Turner.
Ah, that was so
Ah.
cool.
It was.
Huh.
I was at BronyCon
It says that this
when
is
I saw it,
fairly
and I
far in the
screamed.
past.
So
Derpy's time.
It's like
It's hard to tell exactly how
you
far.
so you're the
Could be
you're the father
anywhere
of
from
Time
500
Turner.
to 3,000 years.
pretty much.
The rift is making it
Also,
difficult
what's
at
really
that point.
funny is
So no
in an
pony though,
episode
huh?
where Derpy says,
wonder
"I
how old
knew
the
I
castle
know a
looks
pony
now.
named Nick
Or if
Lickety
Celestia
Split."
and Luna are there.
Or I have a friend named Lickety Split.
Ooh, we can look at that next
Like
if
a
we can't
week
find that
after
pony.
the episode that aired
You
had a
spoke
pony
too
named
soon.
Lickety
Look.
Split.
There they are. Hello.
Quick question.
We're not dangerous, I swear.
I remember seeing a video on
Salutations.
Oh,
what was
don't
it,
run.
TikTok, I think,
Aw.
and it was pointing
I
out
wonder what she's
how
afraid of.
how
Well, let's
later
go
in the
far, I
episode,
suppose.
Derpy started when she was
If
young
she's
had
going
like
to
straight
keep running,
eyes,
It'll do us
know what I'm
no
talking
good
about?
to go chasing her around.
and then she was like a really
To the
good
castle
flyer,
we
and
go.
then it started going cross-eyed,
I guess.
or like
yeah.
getting her lazy eye,
You
right?
know, last time you were here
I don't
was the first time I ever
I
had
actually
an adventure
remember
with
that
the
being in
doctor.
It-
the series.
I thought he was totally
No,
crazy
it's
and stuck
it's
with him
in
to make sure he
what's it
wouldn't
called?
end up
It's the
getting
Rainbow
himself into
Dash's
trouble.
parents
But
episode.
it ended up being
Oh.
you who got in
When you
trouble
first
with
see
the
her
Manticore.
parents.
The doctor was insistent on helping Night
Oh,
and Moon.
yeah.
God,
Just
I need to
returned
rewatch all
equestrian
that. I
wreak
can
havoc.
barely remember anything from
What
like
do
that
you need
Me
me
episode.
to
I-
do for, Doctor?
I just remember seeing it on
I could
TikTok.
just tell there
It
was
could have been like a
someone
long
suffering
time.
deep down inside her.
It was like one of the last
I've
episodes
seen
I
my
watched. I
fair
know
share
that
of
for sure, though.
parasitic beings.
I definitely need to
This
re-update
nightmare isn't much different
myself,
from a
that's for
being
sure.
known as the fearmonger in my universe, a parasite that takes host
It-
that can
I'm
spread
glad
influence of
someone
fear among
in
the
the
masses. I wouldn't be
audience
surprised if the nightmare was,
noticed
in
this
fact, the
reference
Ponyverse's
to the
version of the
radio
fearmonger.
play
It's weird that
of
there are
Doctor
things that are
Who
similar in
with
our
the
universe to
fearmonger.
yours.
Because
It's really
Different
cool.
Universes can have
I
Yeah.
love
lots
to
in
make
common with each
references
other. I
to
noticed
the radio
layout of
play because the radio
Equestria
play
is
is really
similar to a
good.
country.
It,
In
it
my
really
universe
was so
called the
nice
United
watching everybody
States.
in the chat just
Even
kind of
some of the cities
here and there.
are
People be like,
identical.
"Oh, hey, I know what that's
You have
referencing. This
Baltimore,
is
you
from
have
Big Finish. This is
Baltimore,
from the radio plays. This is
Philadelphia,
Classic Who, or
Philly,
this is an obsure pony fan game." Just it was very very rewarding seeing everybody just getting very excited and nerding out over all those little things.
Yeah,
I like to point out this laughter in general.
I'm sorry.
It's so
just
contagious.
So funny. You all seem so obsessed with putting equine terms in your city names. To you, it's normal. To me, it's nothing but puns for miles.
Anyways, we went through all
That
the
is
trouble
true.
of going through the Everfree Forest to help my
Not
new,
Doctor literally
but when we
making
got
fun
to
of their
the old
culture.
castle, these other ponies were already
I know,
It's almost
right?
as if this
used
universe
amazing
was
Waverly style that got rid of the
designed.
nightmare and freed Princess Luna.
Oh,
I guess it's more Derpy's like time than TikTok's, because TikTok I don't think TikTok didn't have any like
fancy that. I
towns
love time
like
travel.
Manhattan.
All these little surprises.
I was wondering when that'd become relevant.
How do you even keep track of things, Doctor?
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm
his
a time
his
lord. My brain's built for storing
fort was
timey-wimey
literally
information.
called Nayers, so I mean,
True, very true.
There appears to be a clearing up ahead.
That might be the castle.
which
Come
is
on.
actually a pun on Fort Myers.
Oh, really? I never
It's
connected that.
Town.
Fort Nayers
Huh.
is Fort Myers.
What? No,
Fitting,
this
because
doesn't
Fort
make
Myers
sense.
is also a
There
miserable,
were no
depressing
towns
little
in the
town.
Everfree Forest.
I know, I lived there.
Accurate.
It's too dangerous.
Well, there one is, clear as day. Let's ask
Wait,
around.
quick, hide.
Why are we hiding?
Look at the ponies.
You better run,
Do
squirrels.
you notice
Oh, I
anything to
forgot
tell
there
you?
was something I wanted to say. Like
They look like
here,
normal ponies to me.
before this
Don't
scene,
we?
I kind of
Look
wish
closer.
that I
None of
put
them have cutie marks.
the spooky part of the
How
forest
is
that's
that
in the
possible?
game that you see
I don't
before you
know.
get into the
I know that
town,
on rare
build up
occasion
some
a pony might
tension,
not get their
just to
challenge
make this
until they're
town
an
seem a
adult.
little more
But the whole
screwed
town
up.
mean like that?
Mhm.
That's not right.
And add, I wanted to
It's
add
not normal
like
for them to have cutie
I
marks.
was
They
hoping
might
this
not
episode
react
would
well
be
to us
about
having
10
them.
minutes longer.
I have
And
this
there's a
feeling that it
couple
would be
of
best if we
scenes that I
hide
was
them.
thinking I could have
Fortunately for us, I kept some
had,
perception tape with me. You
that
never
I
know when a
regret
cutie
not
mark might need to be
having.
disguised.
Excellent thinking, TikTok.
I think
Yeah.
it would definitely have benefited, but also I think it's
Perfect.
okay the
All
way
right,
it is
let's
as
see what's
well
up
for
with
the
this
size it
place.
is.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fine. Like I'm just saying it would have improved it, I think, but it's not
Staring at us.
a big deal
Visitors
because it's
must be
still pretty
uncommon
damn
considering
good.
the location.
Let
definitely.
me handle this.
Doctor, no.
So far, most of the art
Hello,
we've seen is
ponies. We
Emily's.
seem to have gotten lost.
Angie's is
Your
in there a
town is
little
very
bit.
cute,
And I guess
we'd
mine
love to
too.
get to know it.
Who else? But so
Well,
far
hi
this.
there,
Oh,
folks.
look!
The name's Greyhoof. I'm the town's celebration planner extraordinaire. This little slice of heaven is Sunnytown because our
And there I am, my
are
first
as
debut
bright
in a
as
Doctor Who's an assistant.
That's right.
Oh my. It sounds
What were
very
your thoughts
pleasant
when,
here.
about
Yes, and what
Greyhoof
luck.
when
You're
you
just
were
in time
casted
for the
as
wedding
him?
party. I always say,
At the time,
more
I
seats
will
filled
admit
at a
this, I
party,
wasn't
the
really
better.
that familiar
This
with the
may be my
character and the
best event
whole
yet.
creepypasta
You are certain
like
this is
attached to
alright
it.
by the
Like
pride
I
of
was
the
familiar
room.
with the game at the
Romeo?
time, but my
Starlight?
knowledge of
You
it
don't
was
mind,
fleeting.
do
But
you?
when I
Of
read
course
more
not.
about his
We'll share our love
character,
with everyone.
I definitely got the
Oh,
idea
if
like
only we
he's
saw the
definitely what's
ceremony.
called on TV troops a Stepford
Romeo,
smiler. Like he
Starlight,
puts on a
it's good
front
to
to
meet
really
you.
hide his true
I'm
intentions.
Dixie.
I wanted to
Address me as
kind of
TikTok.
like portray that like
And I'm the
uncanny
doctor.
valley in his voice.
What's
This
the
like you could
doctor?
tell that there was something off with
You're
his
joking.
like jovial
I
attitude.
don't know what that is either. Gray?
Like you can tell,
And I think you-
a cult of some kind, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Jim Jones kind of character.
I think you pulled it off really well and made him such like a fun villain.
That responsibility on ponies just
And to the point where it's like, is he real? Like
I
you're
see.
like I like him. Me saying
Well, all the
he's a
same,
villain is kind
doctor's
of
the
me
name.
being like
all right,
just trying to
well,
put a
welcome,
blame on
Doctor,
someone,
TikTok,
but
and
really,
help yourself to cake and punch.
I feel a bit
like
rude
you can't really
wedding
blame
cake
him
a
for the
couple
actions he's
randomly just
taken
met.
since this is how he was raised.
Offering, so
But
maybe
also,
I'll
mind you,
consider it
he
rude
convinced
not
them
ingest
to
a
murder a
delicious
kid.
cake or
So
among their food or liquor.
Yeah.
There's a
Maybe
phrase I've
if
heard
you're
in this
just
kind of
saying
saying,
that because you can't
everyone
resist
believes
food
they're
and
the
cake
hero
ever
of their
since you
own
had them,
story.
I guess you have a
And
point.
for Greyhoof, he's
Don't
no
say no to
exception.
free
He thinks
cake.
he's doing the right thing, even though it's obvious that he's taking
Mm.
extreme measures.
Oh, I wish I could share cake with all
yeah,
of my house.
definitely.
Well,
And I hope
we
I
did
portrayed
give
that
them
well,
muffins
like,
and
you know,
other assorted
with this,
pastries.
I wanted to like sound genuinely
Whoa, this
like
is
nice,
pretty
but also have a
tasty.
hint of a like a
It
bit of a
is.
threat
Hey, Greyhoof,
into my
mind if I
voice.
inquire?
Like,
To
you
me,
know,
when we were looking when we were casting, to
Where
me
do you
you
get your
sounded like you were
supplies?
very like a Pinkie Pie inspired villain.
really,
Like genuine, like you're like very happy, very like bubbly,
everything we need
um,
here.
like always
We have
putting
full
the best foot
farmland, full
forward,
town.
but
easy access.
you still had that eerie kind of
and as a
like,
bonus, it's
I think
safe.
it's like the crinkle in
So
your
you make no
voice that you
contact
have.
with the
I don't
outside
know.
world?
Plus, I've
Why
only
would
known
we
you to
leave
voice like
when we have what
villainous
we need right
characters,
here?
really.
It's safer here anyway.
That's the thing about voicing
Yeah,
villains.
but
Like,
the
I think it's
Everfree
a really
Forest
fun
isn't
way to
exactly
let out
known
the
for being safe,
inner
so how'd
darkness
this
of
town
yourself
manage?
out in a healthy way, because we all have that kind of like side of ourselves. And voice acting is a really fun way, especially if you want to go all ham, which in this case I was trying to.
Wow. I'm really sad because I got a villain role for a project. Like I was gonna play Moriarty basically, but then the project just kind of fell through, so that never happened, which really sucked because I was really looking forward to that role.
Well,
I know, it was always a fun.
Do you not have
Villains
any
are always
Pegasus or
so
unicorn
fun to
residents?
play because you can go all out. Like, it's no secret that my favorite villain to play of all time is
well, they're coming outside
Tarantulas
the
from
forest.
Transformers Beast Wars. Yeah.
Well, carry on.
And also very fun to do the audio side on, because even if you're not doing anything too significant, just I personally like to just kind of
Thank you for welcoming
bump
us.
that lower end on it, just give them a little bit more of like,
This is strange.
just kind of like an imposing,
Very.
like subtle boom to them. And I'm not sure if it's totally came through. I was doing Grey Hoof on this, but that's kind of what I was going for.
Another thing about the audio that I want to talk about is that you can kind of hear it in the back. In specific moments when they're talking about specific key points, like in this you'll hear the donging of a bell. In that previous scene you heard like as he was talking about the curse. Like anytime they bring up the curse, there's the horror element that comes through, whether it being small or big.
I noticed that.
Yeah, that was. I impulsively bought a Spectrasonics, and just having dropped like $500 on this, I was like, okay, well, you know what? Gosh, golly, I am going to go ahead and use this. So I was like very determined to just like kind of add whatever horror flourishes wherever I could with it, such as like the dong and like the almost like reversed whisper sound talking about the curse.
Especially not at our wedding.
I thought it was really good, and I thought it really made it feel like this curse is always looming over them. Like even when they talk about it, it's like, oh, hello.
So, changing the subject.
I had a note on that talking about the curse moment though is also I was kind of thinking it might have been better to have it happen a bit later. Like possibly around when Mita and
that's cute,
when he
but,
shows up to
seriously.
stop Mita from talking to them.
Good at gardening.
But
That's
it just feels a little early right now.
we know how
But
to
again,
cook.
it's not bad.
Aren't any bad
It's
cooks in
still
this town.
it's still a creepy moment.
That's nice, but
it still
are
does
you
build
good at
tension.
something not a
So
lot of the others are?
And I think it
Well,
builds a lot
I
of
think
tension,
Rhodey is the
and
most romantic pony in town.
this is also one of those like images that were weren't still. Lizard ended up making a GIF or a GIF of all this, and I ended up having to take screenshots of each like frame
More than anyone here.
in order for not to do the whole looping situation.
He always knows what to do whenever any trouble comes our way.
Trouble, you say? May I ask what kind of trouble?
Oh,
I really want to talk about how I really like the casting of Starlet and Romeo. I think Luna did a really good job as Starlet, and I think Robert did a really good job as Romeo.
And every pony takes his advice seriously because
I really like
Very
how
nice to work with.
So would you say he's the
I really
leader of
like
this
how
town?
like Romeo is very like more soft.
No pony
As
who
for
is really
Starlet's
the
more
leader.
like, oh
He
yeah,
just goes over
hi.
That's
Right?
all.
I
Yeah,
see.
definitely a good duality
Well,
between
good
them.
thing you have him then.
Mhm.
And
Like,
if
when we
Luna's
first
does
heard-
not keep you too
He's
long
more
on your wedding
submissive.
day, I'm sure you have better things to do than.
Oh yeah,
chat with
Luna's
some
a really good.
strangers.
Luna has like such a
There was no
really good
problem,
range.
Really. But
Her
please,
voicing
Romeo.
Nightmare Moon or
Sure
the
thing.
evil in the
Looks available.
previous
Have a
episode
perfect
to
day,
be
you
Starlet
two.
in this episode.
Yeah.
Was there a reason you ended the conversation, Doctor?
They
And
seem
I know when we
comfortable.
first heard them,
You
when we
shouldn't
first
be
at first we heard them
calling on your
separately,
wedding day.
but then when we compared the two voices, we're like, that's Romeo and
Doctor, I
Starlet.
don't want to stay here too long.
They were
Something
perfect
really
like
doesn't feel right.
complementations to each other.
That's exactly why we need to stick around.
Like, it genuinely brings a
Figure
smile
out
to your
why.
face, which is like,
Oh,
ew, they're
really
so
good thing to
cute.
say something like that.
Well,
Perhaps
let's not judge
too
quickly,
cute.
okay?
Exactly.
Let's not be too
Are
eager
you
to judge.
referencing that there might be something evil coming?
Dun dun dun.
Something malicious lurking.
Can we just
DWnA?
appreciate like the artist in these
Nah.
last couple pages? They're just so adorable.
Oh, this is Lizard Lullabies art.
We could have a chat. We're
They're
very
really good.
curious.
I really like their art in general.
Sure, I don't mind.
They are the ones who also did
What's
the
it like living in
thumbnail.
this town?
They did
It's
the
nice
title
here,
card.
cozy.
They
We're all a big
did.
family
They
here.
do a lot
So
of
you've
art
never thought
in
of
general
leaving to see
for
what else
the
is out
episode.
there?
No,
The
not
art was really
really.
good.
wouldn't
I
wanna
feel
leave
so
my
bad that
family
I didn't
behind.
know where the art rests
How
for all
many
these
ponies
scenes
occupy
were
this
when I
town,
was
do you know?
working
There
on
are
it.
about
Because I
50 of
didn't
us.
know that they were like
You
outdoors
wouldn't happen to
attending
know
a
what a
party.
cutie
So when I
mark
was
is,
initially
would you?
writing all
What?
this,
I'm sorry,
I
I
didn't
don't
really know
what that
what we
is.
were going off of. So just like, okay,
how
I guess
about
they
this?
stepped
Have you
inside
ever heard of a mark appearing on a pony's flank?
Ronio and Starwit's house. So I was like,
No,
adding
sorry,
reverb
sounds
and
very
stuff to
strange
it.
to
And it's
me.
like, oh yeah, hey, they're supposed to be
Changing the
outside.
subject
This isn't
then. Do you
inside.
know any pony here
And
with
I was
any
like,
magical
ah,
talents?
crap.
Well,
But now we
like-
know where it
sure
is.
can't sleep a lot. And I
I
don't
mean, that's
think
the
any
general
pony can
process,
hold an
isn't it?
event
Like you
like
record
Greyhoof
and
does.
then you
And
provide
I
the art
guess I
for it
have a
based
bit
on the
of an
recording, right?
appetite.
Well, also the script itself
Bored.
had
I get
like
bored
them outside
sometimes,
and
but not at this
talking,
place.
like
We can
chatter.
relax here or help out with just about anything if we want.
I really
This
liked another
might be
comment
an
about the
odd
voice actor. I
question,
really like Gladstone's
but has
voice
anything strange
by
or
the
unusual
classic
happened
Nathan.
recently?
You sure are asking a lot of questions. Why don't
Yeah,
I
it's
ask
kind of
you
like,
something?
I wouldn't say he's like Big Mac,
strangers?
but he definitely has that country
Oh,
twang to him and like down to earth
course,
kind of
yes.
person.
Go right ahead.
Very, very
Where
relaxed,
did
kind
you
of.
come from?
I
guy.
appreciate it was very hard to
outside
like
the forest.
place like what
Ponies
he's
don't
feeling.
usually go in the Everfree
Because it's like
forest.
just looking
It's
at
dangerous.
the
Another
words, it's
reason
very easy
we
to say
don't
like,
leave
let
would
me
be
ask you a
pretty
question,
dumb.
stranger. Like,
So,
okay, is he
the
prying? Is he
what do they
suspicious
do?
of us? Is
Can
he
you
actually
fly?
curious? It was
Does the horn
very
stab things?
well
I can
balanced
fly,
in its
yes. Let me show
ambiguity, and I
you.
thought it just served the purpose so well.
Derpy.
Very
Oh, yeah,
guarded.
definitely.
Calm down.
Aw.
What's
And then this
I
scene
think you
too was
scared
very
them.
fun to play with.
Oh man, she's a witch, y'all, I'm telling you.
Does she weigh the same as a duck?
She's a witch, y'all.
I'm
I-
sure the
sorry
cyber
about
ponies
that.
would disagree
That's
of her
normal for
weighing as
Pegasi.
much as a duck.
I swear. I won't do it again.
That's pretty crazy.
So she's not a
Got any
witch.
surprises?
One of my
Nothing
favorite,
really too
one of my favorite
noteworthy.
little clips
talking about?
there
You have
is if you
magic.
hear very in the
Yes,
background, you
but
can
that's
hear
not
Jitter go,
important.
"I'm scared,"
Magic.
and that has to be what like
It
my.
makes the
And I was like,
impossible
when I was doing the
Well, an
scratching for that, I was like,
exaggeration,
oh,
of
it has
course.
to,
Joke.
it has to
Doctor,
just
please
stop there.
confusing this time photo.
Like that has to be the last line of dialogue you hear.
Just kidding.
So then, what is magic?
Oh, it just means it lights up.
Lights up.
Congrats for
Yes, like a lightning bug.
Um,
That's all. I won't demonstrate with all
TikTok
these
for
ponies around
thinking
who
on
might
his
be shocked
toes
by it.
here.
How very strange.
You're like,
Last
lightning
question.
bug.
What do you think of our town?
I mean, he doesn't want to get
There's a
too
good
deep into
community
magic. That
here.
would just freak them all out.
Yes, adorable.
I would
Yeah,
not
they
have
don't
Don't
been
want
able
to push the
to
boundaries if
admit.
they're calling somebody a witch over
Glad you
flying.
think so.
Mm.
If you'll excuse me, I haven't had any cake
It's
yet.
a Salem
Of course.
Trails
It
all
was
over
nice
again.
talking to you.
Oh,
Yes,
good lord.
Very nice. Don't ruin
This is
the party.
I guess this is the Ponyverse's
Don't ruin
version
the
of
party.
the Salem Trials.
Maybe in
I guess
reference
so,
to the last
kind
party that
of.
was ruined. The
This
one
one's
Starlight
art
and Ronja
has
didn't want to
TikTok
talk
with
about.
freckles, and I'm
The
kind of
ruined
upset
party
that
is
I
the
didn't
biggest
give him
issue.
freckles
I'm
originally
not sure
in
we
the
need to do
first
anything
place.
here.
Don't be so sure.
This
Doctor.
I drew
That
this
bad
actually.
feeling I had, it's
For
more
some
than a
reason, I
feeling.
thought he.
There's something
For
wrong
some
with the
reason, I
magic
thought
here.
he had
What
freckles.
do you mean?
Well,
I'm
I've
not sure how
seen
to
quite a
describe
few
it.
people
The
draw
best I
him
can
with
come up with
freckles,
is that it feels
so
rotten.
it's
I
because
feel it
he's
in all the
ginger.
ponies here,
So
especially the ones we've talked
Hey,
to so
maybe you
far.
can make that a plot point, actually.
Rotten underneath. That's a good way to put it.
Oh, you are listening?
Only a little, but you're right.
Who are you?
I really like this scene in general,
Oh,
not because I
Amita.
voice in it, but because
Yeah.
I like the
All I
tension
mean
that
is
it brings.
those ponies aren't as nice as they look on the outside.
You definitely
Yeah.
did a really good job to portray your character
Especially not
here,
Grey
like
Elf.
this softness and
Oh,
shyness, and
no,
just
it's nice.
she knows
Always
that
arguing.
that something is
Never
off,
mind.
but she knows she's being watched
Misa,
24/7.
we fixed the
Mhm.
And you
problem.
can kind of
Well, like,
hear
If
that
there is
guilt,
a problem
too.
here, tell us.
I would have
I'm
loved to
holding a
add
grudge
some creepy
over the
ambience to
last
this scene,
party.
but this is
Our
the
party's
one
really
scene that
important
I
here.
didn't do the
Everyone
audio
keeps talking
for.
about the parties.
Just
No,
around
sorry.
like July, I was just very busy.
Every pony agrees with him.
And Rez, I
So
think you
then,
did this scene,
what
right?
happened at
Yeah,
this last party?
I
Yeah.
picked up
Oh,
this scene just
there.
to give a hand.
There was a
Well done.
curse.
Yeah, it was either I pass on this one or I pass on the following, and the following I just
What
really
kind of manner of curse
had
could it
an
be?
idea in my head for the curse voice I
Oh,
wanted to
I
execute.
don't
So
know.
Oh, and I think
well, I
and I think
stand
it
by
was,
that choice.
I stand by that choice too.
Yes, with your doom and gloom, are you?
No, of course not, Grey Huff.
Oh,
I
she
know when
wasn't
I was
bothering us at all. It's
voicing
fine.
Mita in this
Yeah,
scene,
what
I was
did
trying
he
to
say?
start off like very oh yeah,
see.
well this is
Well,
how the world
anyways, Mita,
is, and then
we're
once
needed at the
Grey Huff
storehouse.
comes in,
I
she
just
gets
wanted
all
to
like
let you
back
know.
up to her chipper, kind of like
Oh.
yeah, okay.
I'll be on my way
Yeah.
then.
The state is watching you,
It was
comrade.
nice talking to you three.
Yes, nice.
Like she's no longer like
Well,
yeah,
see you.
so this is how it is.
I hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
Not at all. This is quite the
Another
event.
scene that I thought
Thank
of
you,
maybe
thank you.
adding
Say,
at some
I was
point would
thinking,
have been
how about
showing
Eve
that
gives you a
Mita had
tour
been
of our
locked
little
up.
town?
Well, I'm for it.
Ooh.
TikTok,
Um,
Derby.
I am
I kind of
curious.
regret
I
not
think it'd
having
be
that.
nice.
Oh, kind of like the
Three-leaf.
puzzle and the.
Oh, three-leaf.
Yeah, like it doesn't
Yes.
have to be a puzzle
Over
in
here.
the
I'd
episode
like you to
itself,
show
but
our
like just
visitors
Well,
around.
show that
Oh, fine.
she's
I wasn't doing anything.
she
anyways.
can't. They're not letting her out of
Come
there.
along then.
She's held against her will in some way.
And you can never
Yeah.
beat that puzzle, can you, Basic?
Okay, you know what?
And this is where we grow our crops.
In case you're
Yeah, I
wondering, folks,
forgot-
that's a reference to
Ooh,
like
they
the
look so
pre-stream of
healthy.
the original
I
airing of
bet
this
they're
episode where
delicious.
Basic
They
was
are.
playing the original game, but just
cabbages are
could
my
not
favorite.
beat it in
I
time.
love a good cabbage soup.
I forgot to
Where I
mention
come
that
from,
speaking of the
we
game,
couldn't
there's
really
actually
grow
quite a
many things apart
few
from
almost
mushrooms.
direct quotes
This is
from the
making me start to
game
consider gardening at
from
the
a
very
lot of the
least.
I bet you'd be
characters
great at it.
because I wanted
What'd
it
be
to
the first
reference
thing
the
you'd
game as
plant?
much as possible.
Perhaps a tree of some kind?
And I
How
think,
about a
and like,
peach tree?
when I played the game, and I was like, oh my god,
That
I know
is
that line.
actually
Oh my god, I
quite
know that
perfect.
line. Wait, I know this line. Hold on, this line.
Yeah,
It was really fun
Never heard
to like watch this
Oh,
episode and
it's
then
a
play
type
the
of
game
fruit.
again.
It has fuzzy skin.
That sounds unpleasant.
It's not.
Hey, I like
You barely
kiwis.
notice it.
Well,
I
anyway.
eat kiwis with the
Here is
skin.
my house.
So
Yes, they're an excellent
That's
source
close
of
to the farm,
fiber.
so I don't have to go too far. to
I
get
think
food.
I'm allergic to
You
kiwis
seem
because
to
every
be
time I bite into a
very,
kiwi, my tongue gets
relaxed
itchy.
about things.
Ah,
You like to take it easy.
you may be allergic to
But I
some of
like
the citric.
kiwi.
My
Probably.
favorite thing to do is lie in my front yard on
I can't
a
remember the
warm
last
day
time I,
and just
I
take
had
in
a
the
kiwi,
sun.
but I'm pretty sure I love them.
Sounds nice.
Next, I'll be showing you.
I
I
wanna
like
talk
the
about
scene between. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
wanna talk
Jake.
about
What's wrong?
because
That
Three Leaf
feeling
is
I
actually
had,
my
the rotten magic,
roommate as
it's
the
getting a
voice
lot worse
actor,
now.
and
I
it's
can
her
come
first
into the
time
source.
voice acting. But I thought
Hey,
like
Three Leaf?
she can
Do you know
sound
anything
like
about
this
a
really
curse?
sort of chill, lazy
What do you mean?
person.
Well, one of the other
So I was
townspeople
like, you should
mentioned
go
a
for
curse
it.
at the last
Like,
party. Do you know what it
see if
was?
you can do it. And
Well, one of
we
us
did compare her
attracted
to a lot
the
of people,
first
but yeah, she ended up being
they're
like
free
the
of it
most
now.
fitting for the
It
character, and
almost
she was really
ruined the
excited
party
about that.
completely, but Greyhoof insisted
Not too
we
Oh,
should
yeah.
fight the
right?
curse being lifted and continue the party.
Well,
What?
you want
What
to talk
were the
about some of the
details of
art
this
that we've
curse?
seen of her?
Come on, we're not far from the well.
Are you avoiding the question?
Yeah, like what's
I-
Fluttershy's friend
I
again?
don't
The
know how to
hippie?
answer it.
Oh,
See?
Tree hugger.
Tree hugger.
What's
Yes.
this
Tree
building
hugger.
next to it?
And that's where
I was
we
saying
get
like you
caught
were
up.
gonna do a comparison like that.
It's locked right now.
She's
I never
a
even
little
There
less
that
chill
needs
than
to
Tree
clean
Hugger.
before any pony can use it.
Mind if we take a closer look at the well?
Go
But
right
there's
ahead.
there was
I
some
just remembered I needed to get something from my house.
there was some art in the
So,
pre-stream
if
of
you
it.
could just wait here for a bit.
Of course.
That made her seem like she was something else.
Echo.
Ah.
little bit too chill.
Good, she's gone. Now we can speak freely.
I really
Dr.
liked the scene and
Sonic,
how
the bad
not
magic,
only the
it's
art
coming from
looks,
the
but the
ceramics
music.
building. And it's not just
Jitter
bad
just wanted to
magic,
add
it's
it
a
in last
curse.
minute.
I think whatever curse
Not
it
last
was,
minute,
it
but
sealed it in
we
there.
we had realized
Isn't going to hold it. These
yeah.
ponies are in danger.
We had realized that, oh shoot, this is like one of the only songs that we have not used from the original game. Panoink, the composer of the music, if you listen, the music is very like directly referencing the actual game's music, except not 8-bit, like an actual like orchestral bit of the music. And this part is supposed to be the scary part of the forest. And if we had, and I'm assuming if we had that scene that Jitter was talking about, this would have been what was playing in the background. But this scene works too.
It is a possibility.
Okay, I'm gonna play this game as soon as the stream ends.
While it would be a bad idea, the only way we could deal with it would be head-on if we wanted to get rid of it.
I take it you know a thing or two about curses.
Some, but this one, I'm not certain. It could very well curse us all if we aren't careful.
We could at least inform them that the curse isn't gone, and that they're still in danger.
Huh? Hey, in the window! That's the pony we first saw in the forest.
Huh? I don't see anyone.
Me neither.
What? But she's... Wait, well, she was there,
but
I swear.
without this music, it was like very, like there was nothing really behind it. So it sounded very like empty, almost.
What if the pony who was cursed is still cursed, and they locked her in there?
And I had meant for music to be there, but it just...
If this key works, then I can put a barrier around us in the door for enough time to get a look inside.
I guess that note was missed or something, but
Just look
it's
real
a good thing it was.
It's in there now.
I realized there was a better song for it.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
Speaking of which, what made you prompt to use the the Curse of the Blanks as a plot point for one of your episodes?
Hello?
I was really obsessed with it when I first played it. Like, I did a whole bunch of theories, and I wanted to have a scary episode of Dr. Hooves and Assistant, and so, you know, I talked to the creator of the game, and you know, gave my theory and asked permission to do an episode about it, and had my theories basically confirmed, had a few more facts added to the story, like the Cutie Pox, because the game was made before Cutie Pox existed, but the creator was like, you know what, it makes sense that they were running away from Cutie Pox, so I put that in here, which is about to be shown.
Get out of the way, there's a curse in here.
This scene was really well done, like with the like the sound, the voices, the editing, just everything together, like really like blended really nicely to give it this like
Absolutely,
threat.
this moment right here is just where it's, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
I was a little worried that I don't sound that convincing as angry, because I've tried angry moments in the past, both in voicing and in real life, and I sound kind of like skitterish.
Oh, I think you nailed it in this.
Okay,
it was less angry and more frustrated, like...
Yeah, like more frustrated, and you're like, you're gonna screw, like you're gonna mess us all up.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you better like stop, or else you're going to get what's coming to you.
Thanks.
He sounds
you're welcome.
Unhinged.
Yeah, that too.
Most cult leaders are.
And especially that part where he's like, if we didn't do anything. That's like one of my favorite parts. It's like just that one line.
Murdered her! We freed her!
Now a note that we want to make about Ruby is people were upset that we didn't make Ruby as young as they thought she was going to be. When we casted her more or less to be like preteen,
needs to run now,
or like 14, 12, right? Like, yeah, 13 around there.
Your eyes are red.
Stop trying to trick us.
No, really, they're red.
What are you talking?
And this is what I had fun with in the editing portion, and what I mean by what I like movingness.
Yeah, this bit was just so fun to work with.
Oh man, and this was both
Your
fun
eyes are
and
red, too.
painful to like do. Like for those using the cheap seats, when I was recording this line, because I'm a nurse, like for those who don't know, it was a very stressful time for me, both because of the pandemic and the working hours. So I had developed a case of gastric reflux disease. So every time I ate something, I had these really nasty coughs that just would not go away. But I guess this worked well in my favor because the script said I was basically my character was turning into a zombie inside out. So I kind of like recorded tons of lines where I ate something spicy and then just coughed the heck up.
It was really weird.
Nasty, it was gross, it was visceral, and it was beautiful. It was perfect.
Thank you, gastric reflux disease. But seriously, folks, for those who have it, get it treated because then you'll never be able to eat solid foods again.
For the curse voice, what do you want to talk about with that son of it?
Well, essentially, it was mostly built using a mix of, the base was a mix of just some vote coding, some bit crushing, and just a little bit of harmonizing. And then on top of that was layered, I want to say it was a blend of like some distortion, a little bit of, and a little bit of ring modulation, which I essentially set various components of it to only respond if the incoming signal was loud enough. So essentially, like, as Xanadu would be louder or would cough more, certain parts of the effect would be hit harder and become more prominent, and it just... The way I set it up, combined with the dynamic range that you brought to that take, was just... it was perfect execution.
Ooh.
Here's the big stinger line of the entire episode. That line is basically why I made the episode, is that line.
And hitting it very subtly on the doctor was very... ooh, chills.
Mm-hmm.
This whole entire episode
and also,
is just
like,
filled with chills.
What about Mita?
Too late for her.
The dead silence following it too was really fun.
That's what matters.
Yeah. I also, for earlier, I kind of debated on if I should have had the trio's cutie marks revealed, and that's why the town goes after them.
Then there's nothing we can do.
But I'm not sure if that would have been better or not.
They did this to themselves, didn't they?
No, I think finding the injustice works a lot better, because it definitely... then you get that delicious moment of the doctor, laying down his judgment upon them, and it's just... I think it was a much stronger impact the way it was here.
I feel like if their cutie marks were revealed, Mita would have been able to survive, maybe.
Yeah.
But because he saw the death, the corpse, the remains of what was Ruby, he didn't see anyone in that town as worth saving.
The forest?
Yeah.
Long ago, the ponies...
So Echo Voice here, this was another very fun bit to work with. We got a little bit of some reversed reverb, slapped on with a little bit of delay. And then we've also got Isotope makes a very nice, it's kind of like a flanger phaser, but it's just like never ending, and it's just, if you use it very subtly, especially as like a stereo effect, it's just, I think it just gave it so much more of an kind of ethereal tone, and I was very happy with how she turned out.
I went to look for it for him.
She did come off.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jit.
I'm kind of wishing that with this scene, I could have had someone like audibly point out that she was a child, just so that it could really confirm that point. I really regret not having that in there, and because I relied a little too much on the voice acting and the art, and it wasn't clear enough. So a lot of people were like, "Well, she's not young enough. She's supposed to be a kid."
But what I find funny is people are like, she's like, I understand it's supposed to be more like, it's more messed up that she's a kid that was murdered, but it's still messed up that she was murdered.
Yeah. Picky.
I don't know.
But it is what it is, and we did age her up a little bit that we saw, because even I always saw her as like older, a little bit older than Apple Bloom, and not like Apple Bloom's age. This art here, I want to point out, is made by,
She was doomed from the start.
I forget their
Ruby.
tag.
Now, please,
Hetdam?
let's
Hetdam?
get out of here and take
I
a
don't know how to
nice
say
long
it.
break somewhere.
I don't even think I can handle
It's
something
impressive,
else
I'll
right
say that.
now. I just need a break from everything.
But this is where like the relaxing part of the tension that was just built up. Some people are very I've seen some people be very disappointed in the ending of the scene not having an actual conclusion.
You two go get
Which
some rest.
not all
find it
stories
nice
have
to
to have a
idle the
happy
TARDIS.
ending, and I think this episode
Then I'll
really
just
drives home that an ending is an ending, whether it's happy or
The
not.
stress has gotten to my stomach.
Like there doesn't have to be a conclusion, and Apple Bloom has to get there somehow, has to run into this somehow. The Doctor has no intention on being the blanks.
Because sometimes a story ends, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And the second part of the shipping continues.
Of course it does.
What is it?
I'm worried about the Doctor.
I have my concerns as well.
We need to make sure to be there for him.
Obligatory companions worried about the Doctor moment in every Doctor Who.
Yes?
Since you know more about curses, do you have any idea why you and the Doctor started to get red eyes?
I didn't want to bring it up in front of the Doctor, but I believe
I just
that this curse
finally got
targeted
caught
any
up
pony
on
who
Doctor
killed
Who,
or has been
actually.
responsible for the death of another.
So,
oh yeah?
It wasn't a war.
I think
Of
it's
course
pretty
I
good.
assumed
Like,
fear of
it's not
blood.
as good as it
And the
used to
Doctor?
be,
I can
but
tell
I
you
don't
seen
think it
far
deserves
worse.
the flack
We're
it's
lucky
getting.
we got out of there before the
Like,
curse overtook us.
It actually has characters with personalities and lives,
In that
and
situation,
they
you
feel
would've been caught, or you would've
alive
escaped
no
and
matter
had to
how
live in the
small
past.
they are, as opposed to
no,
when Moffat was running the show and like no one had any personalities. They were just defined by one trait, and that was it.
True, yeah.
I agree.
I think it's unfortunately it's inevitable with any fandom. Like, I'm in an Evangelion fandom, and shipping is just rampant with civil wars and cold wars and whatever kind of conflict, because people will be people when it comes to these things.
Perfect doesn't have to mean unflawed. Just
Shipping
take
should
the
always be for fun and be like, oh, this is a fun kind of situation. Like TikTok and Derpy will compliment each other. Derpy and Doctor will compliment each other.
With all of that.
TikTok and Doctor are very much similar, but also very much different.
Anything I can do?
I think, like, from all of us who's been in the MLP fandom, we've seen our fair share of how far shipping wars will go when it comes to certain people.
If all you need is company, then I am more than happy
For
to
sure.
rent it.
Jitter over here being like the godfather of like most Derpy ships.
All because of
Oh, now I feel old.
cutie pox?
Correct.
No offense.
We'd heard stories about it in Ayers. A horrible curse that would make multiple
charge of
cutie
most
marks
of the
appear on
Doctor
a pony
ships,
and
too.
compel them to enact whatever talents they display.
Well,
you're the one who
basically everything.
The ponies who must have run away from it started a town in Everfree Forest.
More
must have been
Doctor
forced to have their
Mirror
cutie marks
content
yet.
when.
And something about this
And
forest
hey,
allowed
think of
them
it
to
this
live
way.
their lives with cutie
Think of it
mark
this way,
free.
Jitters. You
I
have
wonder what
power
caused Ruby
over
to get
these
hers.
people with these ships.
Maybe
I
unlike
do,
the
I
others, she
do.
realized she had a special talent. Something
And all this time, I haven't given anybody
That
what they
is
wanted
possible.
yet.
And Grey Hook got jealous when all the attention was on her.
You almost did at the beginning of this episode, but then you're like,
town
no.
killing her.
I think not.
All according to
Whoa,
plan.
whoa, whoa. I got you. You almost fell down.
Aww.
Sorry, suddenly my legs just started shaking.
I can carry you anywhere you want to go.
Hamstrom! That's hemtostrom! Hentum! Heat!
Okay.
What?
Yep.
I'm trying to think of their user. Their
It's
DWnA art, so I can properly say their say that.
You and the doctor are the
It's
best
gonna be
friends
in.
I've
It's
ever
gonna
had.
be. It's in the descriptions.
You and the doctor are the only friends I ever had.
It's okay. Like, there's a
Promise we'll
lot to
always
keep
be there
track of
for each
here.
other.
To the best of my ability.
There's always all these moving parts.
Hey, Derpy.
Yeah?
I just thought you should know. Well, never mind.
Oh, come on.
I'll find a more appropriate moment to say it. Don't worry.
You better. Ooh, put me on the couch.
As you wish.
Oh
That
boy.
feels nice after all that running.
Can I get you anything else?
Maybe a muffin and a glass of warm milk?
Well, I think that can be arranged. But I shouldn't leave you alone, right?
Oh, true. Maybe later then.
TikTok's ticking. Brill was the one who wrote that as a part of his character, but I didn't realize that he actually based it on something that I would do whenever I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now we just take in the silence.
So really?
Let the bad things float away.
This has to be one of my other favorite moments of the episode too, of just the ticking of the sounds. I also want to point out this art piece too. The melting butter on the wall, and then the companions. And like a Photoshop picture of TikTok smiling. And at first we were contemplating whether or not to have like an actual song orchestrate it out, but I thought that just the ticking was enough to really drive home the unsettling fear that this episode had. And I had gotten Emmeline. I had commissioned Emmeline to do like a little framework of just a grandfather clock ticking. And then there it is. Well, wait, we'll see it in here. It's like one of my favorite like parts of adding into the ending here.
All right.
When
But
the 11 strikes.
Oh, so at one point there's if you stay in here long enough, you'll hear like the big chimes, and there if you count them, there's only 11. And essentially, what I'm trying to reference there is more or less this is like he tem sinar. I did it. But if you count these, it actually does the 11th hour, which for me is referencing that this is the next episode is going to be the season finale, and time's running.
Oh boy, howdy, nobody's gonna be ready for that.
We're doomed.
Any notes? Any other notes that you have, Jitter, that you wanted to bring up?
Not that I can think of. I think I said everything that I wanted to say.
I've said most of the things I wanted to say too. I think
in all edit at the end here.
Yeah, that was a good touch.
Oh yeah.
I really like that. I was like, because Lizard Lullaby was like, oh, made this really nice artwork that we couldn't use because it was spoiling the episode for a title card. Because if you saw it, you're like, oh, okay, it's Story of the Blanks. Even if you don't know Story of the Blanks, you're like, oh wow, okay, something's wrong here. That's what's happening. The zombie ponies, right? I was like, well, how are we going to incorporate this little scene? And I was like, oh, what about a glitch effect at the end there, of where it kind of shows that it more or less repeats. That's kind of what I was more or less hinting at that point, that it's like, though it's back to normal, it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again. And yeah.
And that was episode 14.
In all, I really liked the episode. It was very fun to work on, very fun to read when I first read it. and it was so fun to be part of, not only during the directing standpoint of it, but the actual voice acting of Mita. One thing that I went over completely is the screaming that Mita did when the doctor completely abandoned her. I ended up
I got chills.
I ended up recording that in my closet with my gain all the way down, literally with my microphone across the room from, like, across my little closet from me, and I was just screaming in my closet. And this is when I wasn't really working, so I was home alone, and I live, like, in the middle of nowhere, so it was, like, perfect setting.
Nice.
So I was able to really drive home the fact, really make it, like, more blood-curdling and fear. I just didn't really want to make it clip, because if I clipped the audio, then that audio would not be used, or that audio would, like, be ruined, and there goes that take. Any challenges that any of you guys saw with the episode that you wish was a little different? I know Jitter touched on some things that he wanted different, or some things that he wanted to add, but what about you guys? King Xanadu and Son of It.
I think the biggest challenge that I had really was just not having visual cues at certain parts and trying to just go off of what I was thinking would be happening with these scenes. You know, sometimes it worked out, like the scene with the well, using the magic to get and stuff like that was, worked well, but then at the other, having reverb in places where these people are outdoors was just very much a problem. But it's, in the end, it all got done, and it'll be better next time.
Oh, definitely. And this is the first time us as we actually had, like, multiple people work on audio. The last episode, it was just Safi, who at the time was the he's no longer part of the project, just left, too busy. But in this, he was the one who did episode 13 all by himself. But in this one, we actually had, like, teams, and we're still working on how to make it flow better. Just because of so many people and so many things, and just all together. But I think this episode was a really good starting point for that, because it really brought home the strength. And the next episode that's coming up, episode 15, finale, is going to be fun. Production has kind of started for that.
Nice.
Kind of, sorta.
I'm
Kind
excited.
of, sorta. And we're gonna be working on that from now on. And then we're gonna be seeing where that goes. Not sure how long this episode will take. It's a doozy. We want to make it good, because it is it's a two-parter, and it is a season finale, so we want to make it really good and make it worth the season finale. Like I said, some people were kind of disappointed with the ending. Some people really like the ending of this episode. I guess it depends on if you like closure or not. Then this episode
Closure is for the week.
Picky.
This episode definitely has those aspects to it.
I will say, like, this is just from my perspective, the biggest challenge for me, and I apologize if I sound like a gushing fanboy here to most of you guys. I apologize for that profusely. But the challenge to me was, like, living up to an expectation of the series. Because, let's be honest, to me, this was like the cream of the crop of the Brony fandom, especially during the early days. Like, it's because of you guys and this series that I actually discovered Doctor Who and the entire series in general. Heck, it's also what I discovered through MLP, like Phoenix Wright and who knows how many other series at the time. So I guess for me, the biggest challenge was living up to that expectation, since this is a very well-known series. And let's be honest, I'm probably the biggest noob in this entire group here compared to you guys. I've only done voice acting for about 2 years now, and I still have a lot to learn. So I hope I lived up to your guys' hype, and I gotta say, it's an honor to be a part of this series that, like, I grew up with.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely really daunting trying to, live up to something that you've looked up to in the past. Like I'm right there with you. Like back in high school, I remember, binging all of the like the Love Struck Derpies and stuff with my partner as they would come out and watching all of them. It's definitely more intimidating to try and get work done on a project when it's like you were a fan of stuff that came out previously. But in the end, I think everybody pulled together really well. I think everybody was, definitely qualified for the test that we were putting out, and I think it all came out really well.
I'm really excited for the next episode to come out, or to be like to get the obviously to come out, but I'm excited to see the next process of the episodes to follow. In King Xanadu voices another character in the upcoming episode. I won't say who, won't say what, but
Spoilers.
you haven't heard his voice for the last time, that's for sure. And obviously Jitter. And then some of it is going to be doing some audio again, and yeah.
Keiko and Gilly is actually coming back for a little bit. Not as
Yes.
actor, but I won't say as who. But he is coming back for a bit.
Yeah,
Dang.
he is. He has sent in his lines. He is part of the upcoming episode, which I think is a very nice touch, seeing as he was the old doctor. So it like kind of ending with him makes it like season 1 ending with him in it makes it very like kind of like poetic in almost a way.
We come full circle.
Yeah, and you guys shall theorize about that as you will. But the episode is very fun. Can't say too much other than it's being worked on. Currently the voice actors are casted for it. Have most of the lines, if not all the lines, for the voice acting. So really now it's just in the stages of the post, which could take a few months, give or take, and depending on when this comes out. Because who knows? Last time we recorded this one, when we did the director's commentary, we recorded that in like February, like right when the episode first came out. We're recording this like 3 weeks, a month after the episode's release, I want to say.
Something like that.
Yeah. But last time we recorded it, like a few weeks, like a week or so after the episode recording, and then it didn't get released until like the summer. And it was like very outdated because by that time so much had changed and so much has went around. But right now, as of recording, this is like a month old.
I've actually moved to a different a new house for a new studio during that transition.
So yeah, it's definitely gonna try and get this out as soon as I can, or like edit it as soon as we can. But yeah, that was episode 14, Sunnytown. Woohoo! Such a fun episode to work on. Like I said, any specific moments that you guys wanted to really like talk about, like favorite moments, just in general?
Just that one line that was meant to punch everybody in the gut from the doctor. I'm very glad that effectively did punch people in the gut, and it really shows what kind of character he is, and it's very much in character for the doctor.
Yeah, just seeing everybody's visceral, immediate reaction to that line in the premiere, oh man.
Despite everyone being like, wow, that was so out of character. Because I've seen some people just say that was kind of out of character or whatever. I'm like, no, that doctor's always been like that. He didn't care about them.
Especially if it was the kid.
Yeah. And like we said, Ruby was supposed to be like 14, 13, 12, like around that initial age group.
Yeah.
So some people were saying that she was supposed to be younger or as young as Apple Bloom, but I've seen a lot of interpretations be differently, just because it is an 8-bit game. And I haven't
every
read
version of her I've seen with Apple Bloom. She's a bit bigger than Apple Bloom.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read the creepypasta, like the actual like creepypasta of it, because I think there's an actual like audio creepypasta of it.
Oh yeah, like a long time ago. I think it was either by Scribbler or Lost Narrator. I kind of forget.
Yeah,
I'll have to double check.
definitely. But it was written, but I don't even know if that's like fully canon, because I'm not sure. Don't want to discredit anyone, definitely. It's more or less up into interpretation. We cast her to be young. That was one of the things. Same with Mita. Mita was supposed to be casted to be sounding young and kind of innocent, but also like kind of like sad or scared. As for Ruby, was supposed to be sounding young. Other than that, thank you for viewing. Thank you for joining me on this director's commentary. It was very fun to rewatch this episode with you guys and kind of talk a little bit more and share the backgrounds of what the interludes of the episode were that made the episode what it is. And definitely is probably one of my favorite episodes, being of its horror nature.
Indeed.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for like having us all be a part of this. This was really fun.
Yeah, I like having these directors' commentaries.
Mm-hmm. I think it's very fun to have it just to kind of explain more or less the process and the thought and just everything behind. Everything mostly just behind it made it very. It explains the thought process and anything that we wanted to add or that Jitter was like, hey, this would have been fun to do, but didn't really know how to explore it. Like, the cutie marks being revealed. I feel like that would have gave us a whole different ending than what it did if the cutie marks were revealed, because I don't know if you really could have really showcased the bones or the death of Ruby in that sense. Possibly you could have, but
it would have also been a lot harder to make the Doctor leave behind Mita, and then it's just you don't get as many juicy moments. I think it would have played out very differently, and I think this is definitely the way that it should have gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because you do get that whole, like, the Doctor gets a whole, like, I don't want you on my TARDIS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the actual legitimate fear from Mita, and you get the like the cold nature that the Doctor can become. Because I think this is the first time we've actually seen the Doctor, other than like I've seen people like compare him to Discorded Hooves or say that the curse really took over him. When no, the curse didn't take over him. It was him. He was fully in control. He knew what he was saying. He knew what he was doing. He could have gone back. And what I also want to add too is what I find fun, what I find really interesting, is that he knows that the TARDIS dispels the evil curse, and willingly doesn't bring Mita into it. So take that as you will, of him willingly either murdering her or willingly not murdering her, but willingly not changing her fate, along with the rest of the towns. Just no mercy.
The thing about this Doctor is he has a very extreme sense of justice, and when he thinks someone has done something wrong, he gets very mad.
Mm-hmm.
And
very.
He thinks that punishment needs to happen in some form.
Mm-hmm. Someone also brought up quickly that apparently Mita was being held down. I think that goes up to your thing when you were like you wanted to lock her up at some point, or like
that's just in a fanfic. It's not really. It's not in the game or anything. Because she says in the game, she says that she could have done something, but she chose not to. So that kind of implies that she wasn't being held down. She could have actually helped. She could have said something. She could have done something, but she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she says, you know, I deserve to be here. I deserve this punishment. We deserve this.
Run. But altogether, the episode really came well. I know I've been trying to like shut this down for a while, and I just keep bringing up new topics to talk about. But it's really hard to like end it. But hopefully we'll be seeing more of like more little things and seeing more little processes of it be shown. Here's to episode 15.
To episode 15. Hell
Episode 15.